right, so we are back, and I am here to talk to you about a fight. If you're a boxing fan, that even if you're the slightest boxing fan, you need to watch this Saturday. It is the fight of the year. It might be the fight of the last 5 years. You only get a fight like this every decade or so. This is one of those fights that you just don't want to miss. Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitri Bivol. This is for all the belts, undisputed at light heavyweight. And the weight curse was broken last weekend with Alex Pereira. I'm going to try to keep that streak alive. Let's make a prediction. Who wins this Saturday, October 12th, W.A.D.E season, the breakdown. Let's go. All right, so like I said, this is a boxing fan fight. This is anybody that's ever been interested in the sport. You don't have to really know the backgrounds of Artur Beterbiev or Dmitri Bivol to tune into this and be entertained, to be enthralled, to be captivated by just the boxing in front of you. And it is a bit of a shame that this fight hasn't gotten a lot more mainstream press. It hasn't picked up. I think that's obviously because both guys are Russian and, not the biggest talkers. But we do have Bivol, who has the win over Canelo. We have Beterbiev, who is maybe the most ferocious puncher that's alive in boxing today. And you just have a contrast of styles, but also a contrast of personalities that isn't necessarily the most conducive for the highest pay-per-view, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, that kind of thing. But this is a boxing fan's boxing match for a multitude of reasons. Artur Beterbiev, 20-0, 20 knockouts, a ferocious punch. A guy that has thunder in his left hook to the body and lightning in his right hand upstairs. Again, you have 20 knockouts over 20 fights. It's pretty simple. You hit everything that moves, and you win bouts when it stops. No judges have ever intervened in this man's career. Now, he is 39 years old, and with only 20 fights, I say only because at this point at 39, you would think he'd have more as a professional, a ton of amateur experience, and right now he holds the IBF, the WBO, and the WBC light heavyweight titles. Things you could say about Beterbiev coming into this fight is, what makes him special to me. Yes, he is a nasty puncher, but he's also vulnerable. He is a guy that, yes, will give up some rounds early to evaluate what's going on and try to find your weaknesses. But in those moments, he can get caught with shots. He's not a guy that's impenetrable defensively. He's not someone that's just going to systematically, robotically break you down like we'll talk about with Bivol in a second. But he has some fantastic wins and career-defining wins. The Callum Smith fight, a 7th round KO there. The Anthony Yard fight, another one where, you test different styles against punchers, which I think Artur Beterbiev is a puncher, not necessarily a technician, even though I think he is far more technical than he gets credit for. Anthony Yard is one of the heavier punchers at that weight class, and to come in and not only beat Anthony Yard, but stop him in the way he did. Again, the left hook, the right hand. The right hand is probably, we talk about Ryan Garcia's left hook. We talk about Deontay Wilder's straight right hand. Artur Beterbiev's right hand is one of the most devastating shots in boxing, right alongside those guys I just talked about. So that right there, plus the Joe Smith Jr. fight where Joe Smith was another heavy puncher. Those are two big-time punchers. The things that Artur Beterbiev is supposed to be the best at, having to be challenged and proven against other punchers. But obviously, Dmitri Bivol is not that kind of fighter. So while you can beat up the punchers, and he also has beaten up guys like Marcus Brown, who's a tough individual, who's also a big-time puncher. But how do you handle, again, a boxing robot, as my boy Todd Grisham calls Dmitri Bivol? How do you handle that? What do you do when a guy like Bivol comes into the ring and just has a systematic, almost unrelenting approach to just punching your face in? So enter Dmitri Bivol, 23-0, 33 years old. Again, 6 years younger than Artur Beterbiev. Said when he was growing up, he got to watch Beterbiev in the amateurs and got to watch him rise and tried to, take things from his game and put him into his, even though we don't see nearly the same fighter in Bivol that we do in Beterbiev. But it's a generational difference between the two. 6 years is a massive deal. And again, especially when Beterbiev's 39 years old and Bivol being 33 is kind of right there in his prime. What you'll see out of Bivol is a fighter that is, like I said, technique-based, a technician in the sense that he will systematically find weaknesses, capitalize on them, and round by round put you in positions to outscore you, outpunch you, outvolume, and just win fights running away with them. I mean, some of these scorecards, you look down his resume. And outside of, maybe a moment in the Joe Smith Jr. fight where he got wobbled, and again, a common opponent where Joe Smith Jr. did go the distance with Bivol, didn't make it there with Beterbiev. You can see why people look at Beterbiev as this destroyer, this wolf of the division, whereas Bivol has looked like as, again, almost a robot because of their styles and fights. But again, that's what makes this fight so great to me. That's what makes this almost more must-see TV, because you're presenting problems for both guys that they aren't necessarily, or haven't necessarily shown to be capable of solving just yet, because they are so unique in the way they approach boxing. They're so different from anybody else in the world, and they are the top of the food chain. I mean, obviously we can look at, victory over Canelo and point to that and say, wow, that was the coming out party. That's what put Bivol on the map. And absolutely that's true, but it's also something where, by the way, I look at that scorecard, 115, 113. That fight was not that close. That's crazy. But you look at Bivol in that fight, and you look at him with the volume punching forward. You look at him put Canelo on the ropes and almost stifle everything that Canelo does with his head movement, with his upper body movement to pull and counter off, and all the shoulder shots that he was given to some of these other guys like Callum Smith. And Bivol said, yeah, that stuff didn't work. Even waved the finger at him after the fight like, this stuff didn't work. Because he is a bigger guy at light heavyweight. Again, Canelo, not as big a puncher at that weight class as he was, in lower weight classes coming up. But something that might work for Beterbiev that Canelo did was attacking the body. Not just the body, but the shoulders, the chest, the body, to get upstairs, as Bivol tends to hold his hands a little lower. Got that kind of Soviet style of bouncing in range, bop, 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 throwing shots over, boom, boom, boom. Chin kind of up, and again, we haven't seen him be super vulnerable outside of, he get rocked, wobbled, however you want to say it, for the Joe Smith Jr. fight. To me, this fight comes down to a couple things. One, I do think Bivol is going to jump out pretty quickly on Beterbiev. I think he's going to win rounds early in this fight. I think his, again, volume, persistence, pressure, patient pressure, and just methodically landing round by round, volume going up, output going up, is going to be a difference maker early in this fight, probably even into the mid part of this fight. For Beterbiev, I don't even like the phrase, he just needs one, right? Because at this level, you need more than one. At this level, you need to solve equations. You need to solve puzzles. You need to find answers. And for Bivol, he has been a master at hiding those things. You think you have an answer, and he covers that up. And then you think you have that figured out, and he covers that up. And you keep bouncing in between him setting traps for you to think that they're actual answers to the equation, just for him to walk you into the traps, throw a combination, and you're saying, holy shit, why did I even walk through this door? Beterbiev's gonna have to kick doors in. He's gonna have to find ways to make traps answers. He's gonna have to make Bivol right and wrong at the same time. And what I mean is, when these exchanges happen and Bivol sits down and he finds the range he likes to be in, he throws those combinations, Beterbiev's gonna have to take a couple of those, right? To get to where he wants to get, to throw the hammers that he absolutely has in his hands. Because I give hand speed, again, combinations, footwork, I give a lot of this stuff, lateral movement, to Bivol. For Beterbiev, it's almost a waiting game to find out where those openings are going to be, and you're gonna have to take punches to get there. Again, we've all known at this point that Beterbiev is vulnerable to taking some of these big time punches, right? He took some big punches off Anthony Yarde, some big left hooks. He took some punches off Joe Smith Jr. even before things went south in that fight. So definitely took some punches off Marcus Brown and was down in that fight, but found a way to come back and win it. I think this fight may not necessarily go like the Marcus Brown fight, but it may go similarly in the fact that it's going to take a bit of a comeback victory for Beterbiev. And I think that is how Beterbiev wins this fight to me. I do think he needs to stop Bivol, and again, we've seen Bivol have some issues with the chin high, the hands low, getting caught with things. Very small moments. But it was very small moments that we saw Devin Haney susceptible to the left hook before Ryan Garcia exposed it in front of the world. I don't know if you guys remember how we were talking about Devin Haney before the Ryan Garcia fight. We were talking about top 5 pound for pound, potentially going toward Floyd's legacy if he continued to win in the fashion he was doing. That's how we were looking at Devin Haney then. Not necessarily now, but that's the point I'm trying to make, is that when you have someone that isn't, Canelo Alvarez, who's not a natural 175er, right? Probably even shouldn't be at 168, and 160 is probably his best spot. Couldn't really do much with Bivol, even when he hit him with big shots, even when he was trying to tire him out with the shots to the body, the shoulder, all that stuff. Didn't really have anything for the combination of size, speed, movement, and precision of Bivol. Beterbiev does have that power. He does have that staying, thudding, stinging, and staying power. Like when he hits you to the body, look at the guys that fall to the ground, just collapse. Marcus Brown, it felt like his soul was taken from him. If I'm making a prediction, I think that's the difference in the fight. I think Bivol has all the success in the world early. I think he even stays on that same pattern, that same pace, that same pressure, but at some point, Beterbiev turns the tide. And we've seen that Bivol is like a robot. His mindset is not someone going in there that'll quit. We haven't seen that in him. Beterbiev brings that out of him. And just his style of fighting, maybe I'm being blinded by a little bit of bias because I do like the way he fights so much. As just a ominous threat. Almost, not Gervonta Davis-like in the fact that Gervonta almost throws no punches. It's kind of crazy. But it's the same in the way that they both know they have that ability to change the fight in a combination. At one point or another, they can find it, or they will find it, or they have found it. And so for me, I think that we look at a fight that, again, Bivol takes over with lateral movement, is able to, land his volume, be precise, and all these things going well for Bivol early. I could see him going up 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds, who knows? I look at Artur Beterbiev as a ticking time bomb, waiting to detonate. At 39 years old, he's not going to be able to go in there and go volume for volume with Bivol, especially the way he fights. He will be down on the cards, in my opinion. He will lose the volume punching battle. All the statistics up until the point where the fight starts to turn will all be in Bivol's favor until Beterbiev lands a staying power shot, a thudding shot to the body, maybe that lightning of a right hand across the chin. It will find a home, and it's just a matter of, can Bivol take that type of power on the chin? And to me, it will happen. It's not a matter of if, but when Beterbiev settles in and finds his combinations, finds the distance that isn't just in, out, that Bivol likes. It is, we're in the phone booth now. Can you take the heat in here because I'm not leaving? That is a game that Beterbiev will play and wants to play. He wants to be in that phone booth. He wants to mix it up. He wants to see, can you take, because he can. With all that said, the point is simple. To me, it's 2 conflicting styles, 2 contrasting styles of fight. And really it comes down to the experience of fear, how to deal with it, the unknown, the adjustments, all coalesced into one high IQ chess match of destruction. With that being said, I think Artur Beterbiev wins this fight. Round 9, maybe round 10 stoppage. After, again, going down maybe 2-3 rounds early, the middle rounds become a little murky. Beterbiev gets 1, Bivol gets 1 back. Beterbiev gets 1, Bivol gets 1 back. And then there's a change. There's the moment where something happens that Bivol has not seen in the gym or otherwise. This man, Artur Beterbiev, is described as a car crash in real time when he is sparring, so to prepare for something like that is almost impossible. And that is why I think Beterbiev wins this fight. But like I said, round 9, round 10 knockout. I just think at some point Beterbiev gets him to stand in front of him, and Bivol will experience what makes Artur Beterbiev an absolute destroyer. You guys let me know down below what you think. Who wins this fight and why? I don't think I'm going to be live this weekend because I am here in beautiful Caguas, Puerto Rico for Prospects number 9 this Friday night. I'm going to be flying in the morning on Saturday back home, so I think I'm going to miss the entirety of the card. But I will watch it, and we will have a breakdown afterward. Do not miss this fight. It is one of the best of the last decade in boxing. If you like boxing at all, if you're a fan of the sweet science, you don't want to miss it. So what happens this Saturday between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitri Bivol? Light heavyweight undisputed title on the line. I have my prediction. It's Artur Beterbiev by stoppage, but I don't actually know. I don't have those answers, so guess we'll find out.